All right, everybody, ready for a deep dive. Today we're taking a close look at mid-body lifts, something some of you have been asking about. Specifically, how it's done in Mumbai through HealR.cr.in. We've gone through their info, and we'll break it all down so you know exactly what we're talking about.
You know, it's interesting. A mid-body lift, it's called a belt lipectomy sometimes, or even torsoplasty. It's way more than just a simple tummy tuck.
Oh, okay, so more than just like getting rid of a little extra.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Think about it. This procedure addresses the abdomen, the waist, your lower back, even those love handles. It reshapes, like, your entire midsection.
Like a total torso transformation.
Yeah.
But I did notice the source mentioning this being especially impactful for people, say, who have lost a lot of weight or maybe, dealing with aging and things like that.
Yeah, and it makes sense when you think about it. You lose a significant amount of weight. You're often left with this excess skin and diet, and exercise can't really fix that, right? So this procedure removes that, tightens everything up, and it creates a smoother, more toned look, which can be, really empowering, not just physically, but emotionally, too.
So it's not just about fitting into a smaller size. It's about, like, feeling good. Wow.
Exactly. And while the source highlights the physical changes, I think what's really interesting is how this can impact self-esteem, confidence. You look in the mirror and you finally see the person you feel like you are. That's powerful stuff.
Absolutely. Speaking of feeling good, they also mentioned, I think, a reduction in things like skin irritation. I imagine if you have excess skin, that could be an issue.
Oh, absolutely.
But how does this procedure actually work? What makes it so much more, I don't know, effective or different from, say, something like liposuction?
It's the approach. Liposuction, it gets rid of fat, but it doesn't do anything about that excess skin. A mid-body lift, it tackles both, removes the skin, removes the fat, and it can even tighten those underlying muscles.
Oh, so we talking like six-pack abs here?
Not exactly six-pack abs, but it can tighten those abdominal muscles, contributes to that, flatter, firmer stomach.
Okay, that makes sense. But this does sound pretty intense. Is everyone a good candidate for this kind of, I don't know, transformation?
That is a really important question because, it can be life-changing, but it's not for everyone.
So who would be, like, the ideal candidate? They use the term, I think, skin laxity, which I actually had to look up.
It's just a fancy word for loose skin, basically. The ideal candidate is someone with a significant amount of that loose skin in the midsection. It often happens after major weight loss.
Someone who's lost the weight and kept it off because they really emphasize that stable weight thing.
Right, this is key. It's not a weight loss solution. It's meant to refine the body's contours after you've already hit that goal. So big fluctuations later on, those can really mess with the results.
Yeah, that's important to know. What else should someone be thinking about before even, like, entertaining this? Anything else they highlighted?
Besides, significant loose skin, stable weight, being a non-smoker, that's pretty standard for any surgery, right? Smoking and healing don't mix well.
Makes sense, yeah. And I imagine just having, like, realistic expectations about the whole thing is important too, right? Like you said, not a magic solution.
Exactly. It can be amazing, but it's a journey. It's not a quick fix.
Mm.
And speaking of the journey, you ready to go inside the operating room? Because they actually get into detail about what happened.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're here for. Let's do it.
Okay.
So we've got our, like, ideal candidate all prepped. What actually happens during a mid-body lift?
Well, you're under, general anesthesia, so you're out like a light for the whole thing.
That's good. I bet that eases a lot of anxiety right there.
Oh, absolutely. So they call it a circumferential incision, which is basically an incision all the way around the waist, like a belt.
Ah, a belt lipectomy. Makes sense. That must give them access to, like, really sculpt everything, huh?
Exactly. It lets them remove the excess skin, the fat, and sometimes even tighten those abdominal muscles all through that same incision.
Wow, that's pretty intense. The source mentioned a long recovery, though, like 6-12 months for the full results.
Yeah, it really highlights that it is a journey, not just this quick fix,
Right.
Your body needs time to heal. Those tissues got to settle into their new positions.
So patience is key here.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of the recovery, remember those compression garments we touched on? They play a big role.
Yeah, wearing them for a while. What's the deal with those? Just helping with swelling or?
They do help with swelling, yeah, but they also give support to the treated areas. That helps them heal properly, helps the skin adhere right to those new contours.
So it's not just about looking slimmer faster. It's about making sure it heals right long term.
Exactly. And while we're talking long term, let's address the, potential risks. Any surgery can have complications. And a mid-body lift, it's no different.
Right. The source mentioned some of those. They're not shying away from, the reality.
And that's important. It's good they're upfront about possible infection, bleeding, scarring.
Things you definitely want to go over with a potential surgeon.
100%. And that's where choosing a qualified and experienced surgeon, it becomes absolutely essential. The source emphasizes that with their surgeons, the credentials at HealR.co.in, but this is where you got to do your research too.
So don't just take their word for it.
Exactly. This is a big decision, right? You want to feel confident about who you're trusting your health to.
So how do you get past the marketing? HealR.co.in talks about state-of-the-art facilities, affordable pricing, all that. It's good, but...
Right. Everyone puts their best foot forward, especially in this field. I mean, those factors are important. You want a safe, clean place, and cost matters.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to dig deeper.
For sure. It's a balance, right? Affordability, yeah, but not at the expense of quality. You wouldn't want to skimp on something like this.
Exactly. And that's why I always tell people, look beyond the surface.
Okay, so then what are, red flags or even, I guess, green flags to look for when you're researching? What questions should you even be asking?
Board certification's a big one. Make sure the surgeon is certified by a legit medical board wherever they are. That shows they've met the standards, the training.
So check their credentials, basically. What about those before and after photos? They seem pretty standard.
They are, and they can be helpful. But remember, everybody's different. Don't get fixated on finding an exact match for your starting point.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to go in expecting to look exactly like someone else.
Right. And on that note about expectations, it's important to remember any elective surgery, especially one like this, it's a personal decision.
Yeah, it's not just about, changing your body. It's about knowing why you want that change.
Yeah, exactly. You got to think about your reasons, your goals, and be realistic about the benefits, the risks, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds like the mental, emotional prep for this, it's just as important as the physical stuff.
100%. And on that note, maybe we should focus on HealR.co.in specifically. We've covered the general mid-body lift stuff, so let's see what stands out about this clinic.
Yeah, let's unpack what they're bringing to the table. They seem to have a certain, flair, So HealR.co.in, they really seem to emphasize their experienced surgeons.
Yeah, that's pretty common, and for good reason, right? Experience matters, especially with something like this. But, like we've been saying, it's not the only thing to consider.
Right, board certification, photos, testimonials, all part of the picture.
Exactly, it all adds up. What else do they focus on? What makes them different, according to them?
They talk about state-of-the-art facilities, which, honestly, you'd kind of expect that these days, right? Wouldn't any good clinic have, the best equipment and stuff?
You'd hope so. But yeah, still worth checking. What tech do they actually use? Do they have a whole aftercare program? Those things matter.
Oh, good points. Yeah, they do mention a dedicated team for aftercare, which makes sense. It's got to be important for this procedure.
Oh, absolutely. Recovery is just as important as the surgery itself.
Now, one thing I noticed, they emphasize affordable pricing quite a bit, even financing options. Makes me wonder, is cost a big deciding factor for people looking into this?
I'm sure it is for a lot of folks. This isn't usually covered by insurance, right? So affordability, it's got to be up there.
And like we said, you don't want to compromise quality just to save some money. So it's good they offer options, but yeah, research is key.
100%. Don't let cost be the only thing you're thinking about. Your health is way more important.
Speaking of, before we wrap up, any final words of wisdom for someone thinking about a mid-body lift, something to keep in mind during their research?
Just remember it's a journey. And not just physically, emotionally, mentally too.
That's a good point. It's not like, buying a new pair of shoes or something. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. So go in informed, choose your surgeon carefully, and listen to your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
Love that. And hey, our little deep dive here, it's just a starting point. Check out HealR.co.in if you're interested. But don't stop there. Look at other clinics, read what people are saying, and talk to multiple surgeons before you make any decisions.
Exactly. The more info you have, the better the choice you can make for yourself.
That's what it's all about. Feeling good, confident, comfortable, in your own skin.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And sometimes that takes a little help to get there.
This has been great. I've learned a lot. So to everyone listening, hope this deep dive gave you a better understanding of mid-body lifts, especially with HealR.co.in over in Mumbai. But keep researching, ask questions, and trust your gut. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.